Hello and welcome to The Wilderness of Creativity, a platform for creatives and aspiring entrepreneurs to share their stories of survival. I'm your host, Lucy, and I'm so excited to share this creative journey with you. Working full-time and raising a small human has caused me to lose track and wander off-piste on several occasions, but I followed the signs and here we are, surviving the wild and feeling more connected and inspired than ever before. Whether you're a seasoned adventurer or just starting out, I'm here to cheer you on as you navigate this journey. Together, we will uncover practical tips and strategies for cultivating creativity, explore different ways of prioritising our creative energy when there are people to please and deadlines to meet. And we'll also discuss how we can foster a mindset that inspires connection, innovation and play in our daily lives. Tune in every month to hear how my guests find focus in a world that never stops buzzing and discover what it really means to take the road less travelled. Subscribe now to listen to The Wilderness of Creativity and remember to like, share and leave a review to show your support. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, so come and join in with our conversations. And that's it. Welcome to your next adventure. Welcome to the summer series of The Wilderness of Creativity. Natalie Smithson is a copywriter, creative and tech enthusiast who is committed to documenting her creative journey as she develops a new, immersive exhibition experience. With experience of working in media and journalism, Natalie now works in conversational AI. Over the last 10 years, she has come to realise that the key to overcoming life's obstacles lies within each of us. And she's on a mission to share this wisdom through creative self-expression. She wholeheartedly believes that creativity will continue to play a crucial role in harnessing our humanness within a digital age, and explores how she intends to embrace art and AI to inspire a more empathetic and compassionate world for her children and future generations to come. Experiencing the same thing, once you start to talk to people about what you're doing and your projects and you open your heart to all of these different things, it just floods in, doesn't it?
It does. It just keeps on going around. The momentum just keeps building and building and building.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone's so excited about what they're doing because they're finally letting their stuff out and doing what they want to do. But then to be around other people doing the same and having with that same energy, that same sense of excitement, it just keeps you going even more. And I just kind of think, why haven't I been doing this sooner? But I just think things happen in their own time. Like you said, it was a chance meeting for you. I'm kind of the same. It was more like a result of circumstance. And then you just end up in a place where it's the right place, it's the right time, and everything's then happening as it should. That's kind of what I'm taking from it right now, that it just happened in its own time.
It takes a lot of trust, doesn't it? You kind of have to lean into the fact that things are just going to happen and just being open to it. I'm also going to do the You Got This cards. Have you been listening to the podcast at all? Do you know what these are? So basically, I'll start with this because it's a nice little sort of like icebreaker. So these cards were given to me by the A-level students that I was working with up in Matlock when I was doing maternity. And we opened these cards at the start of every rehearsal. And we each took a card and we talked about how the card resonated with us at the start of each rehearsal. And it kind of set the tone. And I love these. And I'm actually doing these cards quite a lot for myself at the moment because, setting intentions for the day and having those affirmations are so important. Do you have any rituals that you do?
I do. And I love those days when everything is just flowing. Like you wake up and you might not even have had a good sleep. I might wake up in the middle of the night, but I've woken up and everything is just exploding in my head and I just have to get up and get it out. And that can then fuel weeks of work for me. Like it's almost like a creative blockage and everything's just kind of come undone and it's all flowed out, and then I'm back on it. But it's those times when you're waiting for that and it's still not coming, and you're struggling for whatever reason, whether it's something personal happening or you're just really busy or heads in a cloud, whatever it is. Those are the days when I use those kind of rituals, writing, just starting to write anything at all, scribbling, drawing. Sometimes I have lists. I've just learned loads of different methods to keep myself kind of moving through, because I think as long as you're doing, you're always going to be okay. It's when you're just sitting, and that's how, while I've been doing my own project, months and months can pass, and I want to keep getting to that point. But there's always something stopping you that I think is a lot deeper than you realise, and I just think anything that can help chisel away at it is really powerful. So I've just got loads of little tips and tricks that I picked up. Some stick, some don't. But yeah, I think that's kind of vital as a creative, because you will get stuck.
Yeah.
Things will bog you down. Your brain will just go on holiday for a while.
Your brain will go on holiday. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain is on holiday a lot.
Happens to me multiple times. Sometimes in one day.
Every day I'm like, come on.
I'm jealous of my brain's holidays.
But I also find, so I've just launched some meditations to go alongside the podcast, because
Saw those, yeah.
So the cards are a ritual that I have, and the meditations, because I find that my brain is very busy a lot of the time. And
a lot of chatter,
a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And although I'm getting better at controlling that, I am so much better when I give myself that time to be quiet.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of, you do have those little tips and tricks, don't you, that we work on. So I'm just going to go on.
It's hard to find that stillness. It's so hard to find that stillness.
Yeah.
I've been trying for years. I'm still working at it, getting so much better, but still having to, actively work on it all the time.
Yeah.
Meditation I find really difficult because my brain won't sit still for long enough. I was going to a class quite regularly, and that was quite helpful, learning different tips and tricks from people. But I do struggle. There's a lot of chatter going on in there. Getting stronger all the time. Just keep at it and keep pushing and learning how to do it, because the benefits are amazing. Now I do feel a lot more in control, and I'm kind of monitoring my creative flow, if you like, and finding ways to get past the hurdles. The benefits are brilliant, not just for your creativity, but just your overall well-being and happiness. And I think it's certainly easier for the people around you as well, because you're not feeling so frustrated.
So what does your day or week sort of look like when you're working on this immersive exhibition?
Well, this is a passion project, so this is a kind of on the side. And I found over the years, I did try at one point to have kind of, blocks of time for different things, and everything was quite regimented. And I know that works for a lot of people. I've tried different things as well as a copywriter, practicing the technique where you write for a certain amount of time and then you stop and all these kind of things. And I think now I've just accepted that for whatever reason, my brain just likes to be fluttering about. So everything for me has become very fluid. So work and creativity and family and just life, it's all quite merged together, but in a positive way. Like I'm able to separate, but I don't know if that's also because I've been working from home for like over a decade now. So I can very easily go from work mode to mum mode to whatever mode it is in a blink of an eye. So I've just kind of practiced that, I suppose. Because when you do start working from home, if you haven't been working from home before, I think it's very difficult for people around you. We learn the hard way, for making it kind of clear when I am working. Am I just shopping online? Am I doing some work? There's just so many like ways of, establishing your space, and everyone's clear on kind of what's happening, just so there's no tension and stuff. So I think just over the years, just through living this stuff, we've just got very good at kind of navigating that. And I think for me, that switch and that change, because over the years, I've had loads of different kind of jobs, and I've worked in different ways. I've been temped and been employed and been freelance and voluntary, all these different things. I feel like I just want to experience lots of different things all at the same time. And it just works for me somehow. It wouldn't work for everybody. So I think finding your style, the thing that keeps you kind of on and up, really works. So when all that is taken away, if I have a very routine week, for example, it just would send me kind of a bit loopy. I have to just have a little bit of crazy in there, and that kind of keeps me on an even keel, weirdly.
No, I love that. I love that, that the chaos is exactly what you need.
Yeah, yes, like very, very difficult just to sit still. Yeah, just a little bit of everything. So that's kind of how it goes.
I mean, I've recorded a few episodes now, and something that's coming through from a lot of the conversations I'm having is this idea of a busy mind, allowing that craziness, that chaos to just happen, and there's a comfort in it.
Yeah, and I just think now I've accepted that, because you always think, certainly when you're younger, you would kind of just seem to be told that this is the way life goes, and you do this and then you do that, and it's just kind of this like pattern, isn't there? And I never really fitted into that. I never really wanted that, and it always feels like there's something wrong with you if you're not fitting into that model of how a life should look. But then the more you read about creatives that you admire, or artists, or anybody really who's doing something that inspires you, I think the thing that always strikes me is they've found their own way and they're happy with that. And I think that's the strongest thing, the best thing you can do for yourself, is work out what's right for you, what works for you, what makes you happy, and that's follow that path.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of following paths, like, you've done quite a lot, haven't you? So you've mentioned copywriting. You also did you do something to do with zoology or something?
Yeah, anthrozoology, so the study of human and animals, like our relationship.
Yeah. How did that all come about? Because they're very different.
Yeah, they do seem different, and I think the more I've looked into it, the more I can kind of tie everything together. And it's just a general curiosity about how things work and how people work. And it started because I've always worked in digital.
Yeah.
Quite happy with all of that. And then I started doing safaris and conservation trips just out of interest. And then I got into photography, wildlife photography. So I went off and studied that for a while. And while I was doing that, I got into it was more of like a conceptual course. So you were looking at the stories behind the images. What are we telling in these images? What are we editing out? What are we trying to kind of portray in this image? And in looking at that and how we portray animals in photography or video, which I looked at as well towards the end, it was very confusing, in the same sense that we love our pets, our cats and dogs, but we'll quite happily eat, cows and sheep, those kind of things, with loads of contradictions. Yeah. And I started looking a lot into convenience food and kind of what goes into our food, and just these strange stories that we tell ourselves about what's okay and what's not okay. And I kind of went down that road. It got very dark in a way, but it was kind of fascinating, and that led me to then go on to do the masters in anthrozoology, which was this relationship that we have with other creatures and what it means for us. And although it doesn't seem to relate to anything, I then got into tech and then just fully immersed in AI, which fascinates me. And now the other is the AI, the technology, and how we are relating to that. So it does seem a strange combination, and there's been a lot of me flitting about and leading quite a nomadic life. But overall, I'd say it's a general curiosity. And what's strangest is, now that I have found my own path and I'm releasing my own creativity, all of it's coming in. Like, I was speaking to my tech advisor the other day about this exhibition, and all the things that he was mentioning, I'd had some experience in somewhere. And it's really odd, because I think I've had a lot of conversations, say, with my husband over the years, and it's like, oh, well, I've done that. I'm now doing this. What am I doing now? But we decided nothing's ever wasted. Everything comes back at some point and is useful.
Oh, I love that.
Like everything, even the negative experiences. And that's really what I'm working on now. This is an expression of everything that's come before, everything that I kind of feel or just want to express.
Yeah.
And it's a strange concoction of things, but I feel like they're morphing into something really meaningful. So I can't, worry about any of that.
No.
Or think there's anything wrong with that. And like I said before, I feel like the timing is just, things are going to happen at the right time. And that's what I truly believe now. Things that are meant for you won't pass you by. That's what they say, isn't it? And I firmly believe in that. And I feel that you will, as long as you don't deny yourself, you can get to that point where everything kind of explains itself. And I'm quite enjoying that phase at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess it comes back to something that we said earlier, is just trusting the process.
Believing in the universe. It's gonna do its thing, but it just won't always do it when you expect it, as most things in life.
Can you tell me a little bit about the expedition that you're not expedition, although it feels like an expedition. The exhibition. The exhibition, the immersive exhibition that you're working on, because are you bringing AI and art together?
So to be honest, I didn't really know what to call it in the beginning. I just know that I had something that I wanted to say. And really, it was only for my own children in the beginning. I wanted them to know that they will always have everything they need inside them to tackle anything life ever throws at them. And I was like, how do I let them know this? And I think it's you're constantly thinking this as a parent. How can I get this knowledge that's taken me 40 years to learn into their brains so that they can feel confident and secure? You can't, but I feel like they can feel something from your knowledge, like I did with my parents or whatever. So that's kind of where it came from. And I've been working, I've kind of niched down into tech quite a while ago now. It's maybe 6-7 years, something like that. So I've been following it. It was just lots of different kind of types of technology. But then when AI came along, I was just fascinated by that. And then I've been looking at a lot of immersive stuff, which is the more arty kind of stuff that I'm interested in. And although I don't work in that professionally and never have done, because it's tech, I can see how it's kind of bringing everything together. And it just felt to me like this was going to be the most wonderful way for me to express something that's just really hard to express in a logical fashion, and be able to get it out there. And the immersive tech will bring some kind of magic to that. But I really wanted it to be arty. There's a lot of immersive experiences out there that, they might be themed, like scare experiences, or they're themed on a book or a film or something like that. There's a lot that I've been to that are a lot of lights. There's just kind of lights everywhere, and those kind of things that have come out. And then it's changing really quickly all the time. There's some amazing work coming out. But for me, I just wanted something a bit kind of more gentle and introspective, that it would be more like going to a gallery than some kind of experience. But I wanted it to be an experience because I was hoping that by the end of it, people will be feeling something. They'll be changed in some way, even if it's really small, and come out with some hope. So I just kind of really cobbled together this title for it, not really knowing what was out there. And so part of what I've been doing over the last kind of year has been researching immersive, and there's so much out there. There's so many different facets to it. People are doing brilliant stuff. Obviously, the technology is changing all the time. And obviously with art, people are just generally coming out with amazing stuff all the time. There's always something new to look at and marvel at. So yeah, a lot of it's been research and working out what do I want to say? What do I want my exhibition experience to be about? So it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. It could end up being called something completely different, but that's kind of how I'm thinking of it at the moment.
And is it going to be in like a particular venue? Have you got some idea of where the experience is going to take place?
I'm thinking about a traditional gallery type space with different
Mm,
areas, different rooms, but you could have a pop up site instead. There's also a garden theme, so something along those lines. But it's really at this stage, I'm a complete unknown. I'm learning all this new for the first time. It's connecting with people who
yeah.
are open to giving me that opportunity. Obviously, I need funding and things like that. So at the moment, it's all about getting all that information together to ready to kind of see where it goes. So I mean, in the end, like the big dream is huge. Like I can see like a purpose built building, but obviously that's like a dream, a big dream. So I'm just thinking you've got to start somewhere. So at the moment, it's getting the information together, finding the funding, finding the venue, and kind of starting with the smallest possible version just to see
Mm.
how it takes off and go from there. So who knows?
And you said that it was inspired by your children. Do you see the audience of the kind of experience being children, or do you see the audience being people from all walks of life, different ages?
I see all walks of life, and initially I was picturing children going through because it's very playful. It's not like it's not a stuffy kind of experience. It's very playful. You can kind of do with it what you want, and that's a lovely
Mm.
environment for children. It's a lovely way for them to experience anything really. But looking at it and kind of bringing the plans together now, I think initially it probably will be maybe over 12s, something like
Yeah.
that, because it might be staggered. It's going to be a very personal experience, so it might be staggered, and you'll go through alone, or maybe you're just you and a child, something along those lines, so people can really kind of bond with it and take it where
Yeah.
they want to take it. And I've certainly discovered going to the immersive experiences myself that children, as we know, are very loud, very loud. Me and my friend went to, went to this beautiful immersive experience, and we were really annoyed because we were both child free that day. That there were kids running around everywhere, and it was very difficult, very difficult to become immersed in the lights and the sounds. But we were able
Mm.
to go around again, so it kind of sorted itself out. But yeah, so it might not be initially, I think, for kids, but I definitely would like a version for them.
Yeah.
But I think initially it's going to be grown-ups who are paying to go to see an exhibition who will understand what this is about. So I think that's where I need to start.
What sort of feelings are you trying to evoke in people?
I mean, you could be in any kind of place, but it's going in and it's spending time connecting with yourself, your own thoughts, your own feelings, and just finding or understanding your inner strength, your own power. That
Mm.
whichever way you're feeling, if you're feeling a bit lost at the time, or you could be feeling pretty good at the time, and just you coming out feeling stronger. You're
Yeah.
hopeful because everyone's got something on their mind. Everyone's dealing with something. You're coming out feeling hopeful that you can deal with stuff, that appreciating your own uniqueness in that as well, that you will do it in your own way because nobody else can do it in the same way as you.
Mm. So to empower
Yeah,
the audience
yeah,
in embracing their own strength, their own creativity, their own resilience, and sort of take on the challenges that they might be facing.
yeah. And just to have something to then take with them as well at the end, that this isn't just a, oh, that was nice, experience. It could be a little bit changed in a way. It's just maybe shifted the way you think about
Yeah,
it.
so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
transformative.
yeah,
Going to the theatre, going to listen to a music concert.
yeah.
I mean, I love going to the theatre and I love experiencing those things. So I used to go with my dad to like the big orchestral concerts,
Yeah, yeah,
and the wash of sound.
yeah.
It physically, moved something in me. My energy moved,
That's it.
and And I think, yeah, so I completely get that. And the idea of them taking that on and then connecting with another person beyond the exhibition. So, talking about what they've experienced and what they've felt and opening up dialogue.
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, everyone's struggling with something. Life is hard. It's really hard sometimes. And I just feel like people do open up a lot more now. I think there's a lot more conversations about mental health and well-being, and I think that's a positive. So I'd like to just carry that forward. I don't want, I don't want to close up again. I don't want my kids to grow up feeling like they can't talk about stuff or explore this stuff. This is what makes us human. There's all that stuff going on in there, and it's not bad. It's just us. So I think the more we can talk about it and explore it and appreciate our own wealth, everything that's going on inside, is, especially in the age of AI,
Yeah.
it's I think, becoming even more important that we just really celebrate that unique humanness and explore it, talk about it, take that light with us wherever we go and know that it's there, trust ourselves.
Yeah, I think I think what worries me about AI, and I need to do a lot of reading around AI, and I mean, my other half works in tech, but I suppose my gut instinct is we're going to lose control. And I think it's about, having those really open conversations about the benefits of technology and AI, and how we can learn and grow, and how we can embrace it. I mean, you've worked in tech for a long time, haven't you? So
Yeah.
what's your take on it and moving forward?
I mean, I'm fascinated by AI. I see many, many positives. I'm working on, good AI, positive AI, functional AI. All the hype that you read about and the scaremongering. Yes, all of that is out there as well, but I think it's a very different. It's a way away, and it's a very different conversation to the practical AI that we're all already using and will continue to use. So I'm not fearful of the AI. I'm fearful of the people behind the AI. And I think what's important is that we continue to celebrate definitely creativity, our imagination, our empathy. And you can't, an AI robot, no matter how much you trained it, could not walk through my exhibition experience and understand it. There's so many different levels that we're working at that are core to our own being. That's kind of where I'm focused right now. And yeah, I think there's lots of positives. And tech, for me, I get so infuriated by technology, and it just doesn't do what you want it to do. It doesn't quite have the power you think it's got. Like, there's so much disappointment with technology. But having said that, it's so enabling, to connect people, to experience things. And that's what I love about immersive. And AI will play a key role in this exhibition as well to really personalize the experience for people, and to make sense, help us make sense of things, where the human brain gets washed over by emotion or there's too much to comprehend. AI can kind of help us organize that to do something positive with it. But I just think there's so much now that we can do using technology. It's an enabler,
Yeah.
as far as I see it. Like, when I went to the Frida Kahlo immersive exhibition in Coventry, and I took my daughters, and they're sitting on the floor, and there's flowers like growing around their feet, and you're just, all the sounds are around you, and there's just patterns everywhere and voices, and like, none of us knew where to look, when we kind of were sitting there. And what a way to experience art, rather than going to a gallery and looking at a wall. I just think that's amazing. And that was a long time ago now. Immersive experiences have really kind of moved far from that. I'd say people are doing extraordinary things now with tech. And I'm just looking forward to exploring everything I can do. And the tech advisor that I've been speaking to gets it, and I think that's the wonderful thing about creativity is you can have all the mad ideas going on in your head. There's all that busyness. There's so much coming from all sorts of random places. Like my nan's cupboard under the stairs inspired elements of this exhibition. Like she had this tiny little Hoover cupboard at the bottom of the stair, just a tiny little door. And I don't know if I'd read Alice in Wonderland or what, but my whole childhood I was obsessed with this little door. And all of those mad things that you just think, where does this come from? This mad collection of stuff in your head can all come out, and you can use technology to find a way to turn that into something that you can share with other people.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty special.
It is, absolutely. And you've mentioned a couple of times this, your tech. Who are you sort of collaborating?
Oh, my tech advisor.
On the project with. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain sometimes goes.
Don't worry.
It's my age. I was thinking tech. What's? Yes, the tech advisor. So, who else are you working with to kind of develop the exhibition?
At the moment, it's just him, because I would say it's been quite a slow burn. So this has been around, lots of other things going on. There's a lot of work I think with anything creative, to be able to step out and do it in the first place, there's always going to be stuff that you have to work on in the background. And I would say probably for the last 9 months, even, that's what I've been working on. And I've been very aware that I'd stopped what I was doing. So I was trying to work out why. And an important part of that was finding my voice. So I joined Toastmasters. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a club where you can go and practice public speaking and stuff like this. And it was the best thing
Where was
ever.
That?
Just for so many reasons. That was in Leamington, but they're everywhere. They're all over the world. They do like a national competition, an international competition. So, just joining things like that. And I've been creating a community locally of, local creatives to join us all together. Just those kind of things where you can feel like you're developing your own skills, starting to value what you have and what you can offer, and then sharing that with other people and celebrating what they're doing in return. It's all these kind of things have been just massively helpful to then suddenly being at a place where I felt like, right, I'm ready to kind of pick this up again. So that's been a very recent thing. And now I've written out the full kind of concept. And then Simon, who I'd spoken to a long time ago, got back in touch with him, and he's taken it from second gear to fifth gear because he knows the tech and I don't. And the fact that everything he was mentioning kind of, it captured all of my little ideas that were floating around that I didn't have a home for, and I didn't know where they fit or if they did. And he was thinking the same things. And just to have that connection that someone can make sense of this mad idea in your head is really, it's just
affirming.
Amazing.
It's affirming that you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing. Is it the co-focus group that you've set up? Because there's quite a few that's been set up like that around here, and I've not managed to get to one yet because they're during the week, and obviously I work during the week. But I really do think there is a place for those sorts of groups and bringing people together and, get your headphones on and, crack on with some work that you're doing, but have somebody sat next to you doing their own project as well. Are you meeting up regularly with them, or have you actually set the group up?
Yeah, we got the first one this week, actually.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be once a month initially, kind of see how it goes and see what people get from it. But it started because I saw somebody else post something about it elsewhere. I thought, God, that sounds brilliant. But the same as you, like, it's just so difficult to get anywhere when you're sandwiched between work and kids and just everything else that's going on in life. And I was getting frustrated with myself that I wasn't making the time, even though I could, at home, to work on this project. So I started exploring what's the missing link, I've kind of got my whole creative space set up. I've got a little ritual, there's lights and candles and, scented stuff and music, and, that will work sometimes. But I was thinking, what is it that's stopping me right now? And I think I just felt detached from it all. So I'm trying to, put on and kind of arty exhibition where I'm not from the arty world, professionally. I'm not trained in the arts or anything like that. Immersive is new to me. And I suppose I was feeling quite detached. So I was like, I need to make connections. I need to speak to other people that are doing similar things. And I'd seen this other event. That sounds brilliant. Couldn't get to it. Posted locally just to see, okay, does anyone know of anything like this? Anybody interested? And there's a creative director who lives in my tiny little town who is putting on loads of things like this locally. And so to connect with her and then all these other, creatives that we found, we're doing a festival, or she's doing a festival, I'm taking part in it at the end of the month. Lots of these creatives in this group will be there putting on this festival. And it just makes you feel lifted and ready then, and that you can share something, and that you're not kind of just on this little island floating around with your own creative ideas. So I just think if there's something missing, just keep exploring, find out what it is, and see what you can do about it.
I think that's really good advice, because I think as a creative you're often just in your head focusing on what you're doing in front of you, and yes, you might be aware of other things that are coming in and you're processing those. But I know for me personally, do you know what? I think I've probably felt very alone and isolated for quite a while. And I think with the podcast, this was my opportunity to make connections with people and talk to them about what they're doing and celebrate what they're doing. Because I feel lifted in the episodes that I've recorded. I do feel really super inspired by the work that other people are doing. And I think that's part and parcel of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you used the word nourishment before, and I think that's exactly what it is. And I think it's so easy, like you say, to be sitting there in your own little space, coming up with, you could be coming up with the most wonderful ideas in the world, but if no one's ever going to see them and you're not sharing them, where does it go? And so I was kind of going around and round with all these ideas of what I wanted to do. And I need to speak about it. I need to get it out there. I can't just talk to my husband about it. And every now and again, maybe one of my friends will hear about it. It's, I need to actually be putting it out there. And I realised as well that I was doing a lot of skirting around the doing. So I might have been researching a lot, or writing about stuff, or planning things in my head and writing lists and ticking off lists and all these things that we do where we feel like we're moving forwards, but I wasn't actually doing the doing. So I set myself a challenge that everything I would do from that point forward, I would have to be doing something. And it's really worked. If it's not moving that project forward, then it's not needed right now. Until I've moved it forward, speak to my tech advisor, work out what kind of venue I need, work out what kind of funding I need, go out there and approach people, meet other creatives who have contacts as well and just are so inspiring and give you that extra energy. That's what you need to kind of push yourself forward. You have to get out there. So that was part of what I was going to be doing this year. And it's definitely working, because I've probably done in the last 3 months more than I have in the last year. It's just a mindset, I think. But like I said before, just being ready. It will happen when it's ready. And everything I've learned up until this point has now fueled it. And it was a really strange moment when I've written out the concept and I was sitting there looking at it like, it's ready. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start. What do I do now? And I realised I have no clue. Who do I speak to? How do I find a venue? There's all this stuff out there, obviously, you can find. But it was just getting past that, going over everything, going round and round, just to finally take off. And it's been really exciting since then. It feels great.
It sounds amazing. I want to come to it. I want to, wherever you're going to be.
Good.
I want to be
I'll
there.
let you know.
Whenever the opening is, I want to be there and experience it, because there's nothing better than sort of feeling alive. In a space with people. And COVID was just, I know it's been and gone, but it's the remnants are still there.
It's left its mark.
It's left its mark, and that changed me, changed the trajectory of my life completely. So getting back to feeling alive, feeling joy, taking those moments, taking those opportunities, connecting with people, I'm so ready for it. And it sounds amazing.
Yeah. I do think there's something to be said as well for becoming a mom. Certainly when I had my eldest, I think it was a good couple of years, I just completely disappeared, but you don't realise. You're so busy doing everything. You're so swallowed up by keeping this amazing little human alive and just watching them blossom in front of, like, literally 2 years raced by. And I distinctly remember the day, I think I was just walking out of the bathroom and there was a mirror, like, behind the door or whatever. I was walking out, I just suddenly saw myself again.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. Really, a really kind of peculiar
yeah.
moment, and you disappear. And then with everything else that you're trying to do as well, I just think you can disappear for quite a long time. And all of these creative ideas that you have and things that you want to do and your hopes and your dreams and visions for stuff, they just get kind of pushed to the side. I think at some point, so for me, we'd had an awful year of bereavement. I had a very sick child. It was just the worst year ever. I think by the end of that, it just suddenly felt really urgent, to get this out. I was thinking, well, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? Because you don't know how long you've got. Life can literally change, in the blink of an eye. So if you're not following your hopes and dreams, if you're not making time for them, if you're not making the connections that nourish you, when is it going to happen? So I changed. Well, it just kind of forced its way out. Really, is the way I describe it. It was coming out, whether I liked it or not. I had to start working on this project.
Something amazing, creative, immersive that comes out of that, is, I think, really beautiful. Being creative has helped me process quite a lot of very, very difficult emotions.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
it's at the heart of everything I think that we do. I guess maybe with the exhibition as well, are you thinking that people might experience that processing as well, of maybe of grief?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's one of the things that I'm kind of aware of. If somebody is feeling lost and they're tapping into
Mm,
something, they hadn't necessarily
yeah,
recognised before, I need to kind of keep that in mind as well, because I just think this stuff goes really deep, and there's so little time to just sit with it, especially when you do have families or you've got, commitments and whatever's going on, with people. There's just so little time. We're all connected all
yeah,
the time to devices. We're hearing news all the time. Social media for kids is just like, I was looking out the window the other day watching the college kids go to school, and every single one of them is just head down in their phone. So I think we very rarely just
yeah,
sit now with ourselves. So it's giving people that space, and I think you don't always necessarily know what's going to come out. So I'm kind of aware of that. But it's not even just loss of identity. I think it's also finding yourself. That's kind of the process that
yeah.
I've been through, because I feel like, in a way, I've denied my creativity. I've always worked in a creative field. I've always been in a creative department working with creative tools, but I've never really seen myself as an artist or a creative
Mm,
as such. So stepping into that, to something that feels so
yeah,
natural and intuitive and just me, is really incredible. And I suppose that's the other message to my kids and whoever, is to not wait for that, because I think there are always signs there, but it's what has stopped
mm,
you, from fulfilling that, and I think with creativity, certainly in education, when I was at school, you're kind of taught, so you're either good at it or you're not, you're graded on it. You then go to college, or whatever it is, you go and work somewhere where you then become excellent in that field. And this is kind of the way it goes. And because I didn't have that path, my path was so squiggly, it was kind of ridiculous. I'm like, well, who am I to now do this? But, if you've got something to say, you've got something to say. There's nothing to stop you exploring, and I think once you step into that and own it and just think, yeah, this is what I do now, the sooner the better, rather than deny yourself.
what a lovely message. And this idea of play,
Yes.
play and creativity and curiosity.
It does. And it's all those zany little things that stick with you. When you, like I said, about my nan's little cupboard under the stairs. And keys. I'm obsessed with keys. She had this really huge key for her back door I was just obsessed with as a child. I took it home one day, so she couldn't get out the back door. Like, we lived like an hour away, so she was not very happy with me. But there's all these little things, and I watch my children, like, there's just things that they are drawn to. And I just want them to know they can explore that. It doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be graded. That's the beautiful thing about creativity, is it can really be whatever you want it to be. And art means something so individual to everybody. So you could take from it what you want. You could create what you want. It's so freeing. It's so freeing. But I don't think I'd have got to this point where this would have been happening if I hadn't had all those experiences before. So, as I said, like, nothing is wasted. All those experiences will come into their own at that right time. And you just don't know. That's what I love about creativity, is you just don't know where it's going to lead.
I can see behind you, you've got everything set up for yourself. You've got this lovely space.
I've worked out from our kitchen table. I've worked from our bedroom. I've had all sorts of kind of setups. I've had like screens behind me. We renovated our old house as well. We've not done so much here, but our old house we completely renovated. And there's just so much going on. Everyone's like, struggling for space. I've now kind of got my creative space. And this was like the dream, but I mean, that's kind of 10 years in the making, and I think that's the key thing with creativity. I'm such an impatient person.
I am as well.
Oh, it's unreal. It's unreal. I think by stepping into this, I've somehow learned patience, that there's a structure, there's a process, which I learned through copywriting. There's a process to copywriting. You don't just sit down and write and magic comes out. You're constructing the words on the page. There's a process to everything. And I think I went to some kind of training group years ago about creative projects. And it was a very simple tactic that they taught, which was to look at your dream scenario and then step back. What do you have to do to get that? Then step back again. What do you have to do to get that? And you just keep stepping back, and you think, God, there'll be like hundreds of steps. I've got to do this, got to do that. But actually, when you look at it, when you work from that dream and you step back, it could be 10 steps, 9 steps, just not as many as you think. And then all of a sudden, it just feels possible. So I think if you hone your processes and you know what you're working towards, but not just a goal, like a professional goal, like, what's your goal in your heart? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to end up? What does it mean to you? What will it bring you? And work backwards from there. And just follow that. And that's all I've been doing with this exhibition. And I think I've ticked off the first 5 steps or something really quickly. And then the next 2 probably took a year. But, eventually you'll get there, and you'll get there in your own time, because you know what it means to you. You know what your goal is. Yeah. And I think that it's that. And that's helped me accept that I can't just go out and just launch.
Yeah.
This thing that I want to launch. There's a way to do it. It's going to take time. And it's not only, that was the most frustrating thing to me. It's not just learning about immersive, understanding my options, finding out about funding and all these practical things. It's drawing it out of yourself. And it was really key for me to find my voice, establish, why this is important. And that's kind of driven me ahead. And now I've done all of that, I feel like I'm free now to just kind of rock on.
Yeah.
But it can be a long, grueling process. And in years to come, you'll have this amazing podcast boom, and you'll look back on your early days, as we all do, and just remember and just think, this is how much you want it. This is what it means to you. You'll find a way to do it, and you do. And none of that matters, because at the end of it, you're bringing this amazing podcast to people. For me, it was just the fact it was called The Wilderness, because that is so what it is.
It really is.
You know, when you do meet some people, don't you
Yeah.
think, God, they've got it all together. They've probably always had it all together, but nobody has. You know, the more people you speak to, and that's why it's so important to talk about this stuff and express it and be honest about it. You know, it is an absolute wilderness.
I'm trying to find the creatives in the wilderness. I'm like trying to find you so that we can come together.
Yeah.
This idea of us all sitting around the campfire talking about our stories of how we got there. I mean, it's just
like a herd of misfits, isn't it? I love it.
I love it.
But we're happy misfits. We're getting there. We've found our waterhole.
Like, how can we follow your progress with the exhibition?
Well, at the moment, I literally had my old copywriting website, and I've just stuck a new page on it. I'm like writing blogs. That's as far as I've got so far. I'm obviously like, I've got a plan for, you know, the website and all these kind of things, but that's literally at the moment. I decided I was going to work out loud. I wasn't going to be afraid. This was purely for me in the beginning, and that's it. It's just a very, very honest, simple list of blog posts at the moment. So that's on nataliesmithson.com, and I post on LinkedIn. X, I'm still debating whether to stay, as a lot of people are, and I have just kind of come back onto Facebook, but I'm not sure how much I'll be using that. So the website, nataliesmithson.com, or find me on LinkedIn. I've met so many amazing people. I'm just getting so much inspiration from what used to be the most boring platform out there.
I never really used it.
And now it's just, find the right people. It's been brilliant. I've just learned loads. And I do find, like, certainly the copywriting community, the conversation design community in AI, and the immersive community, all these people are so gracious with their time and generous with their advice. I mean, I've just learned an absolute ton.
Yeah. Should we do the cards?
Yeah, let's do the cards.
Okay. So I'm just going to shuffle them, and then when you're ready, just say stop, and then we'll see what card is on the top.
Stop.
Okay, the card for you is life is the best gift.
Wow. It's so true. It's so true. Keep living it. Keep living it, and live it the way you want to. I think that's, you know, it's just so important to find yourself and to live the life that you want to live. Just don't waste it. It goes so fast. And I know everybody says that, but it's, you know, the older you get, the more you realise how true it is. So the sooner you can start.
Hello, Lucy here. I'd love for you to help spread the word. There are several ways that you can do this. 1, you can subscribe to the podcast on your favourite platform, which will ensure that you never miss an episode. 2, you could share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues who might be inspired by the stories that we're sharing. 3, your reviews and ratings are incredibly important. They help new listeners discover the podcast, and they give me valuable feedback on how I can improve. So, please take a moment to leave a review. Your support is what makes this possible. I'm on a mission to inspire, motivate, and empower fellow creatives to take the road less travelled, and I am so grateful to have you along on this journey with me. Until next time, stay wild.